We still have no attendees.
Huh.
Oh, there's somebody.
There we go.
Yeah.
There's one.
That's the architect.
Okay. Well, it is 7 o'clock. So what I think is I think we'll go ahead and start. I mean, with Jeff, you never know, he might be in an OR as far as we know. So,
I just sent him a text. Let's see if he responds.
okay. Thank you, Natasha.
You're welcome. Nothing. Okay.
Okay, I think we're going to go ahead and then maybe he'll join later. Otherwise, we'll just assume that he was detained. Okay. Today is Tuesday, April 26, 2022. It is 7 o'clock. I'm calling to order the meeting of the Larkspur Planning Commission for this date. Thank you all for being here and good evening. And with that, could we get the roll call, please?
Commissioner Chalmers,
Present.
Commissioner Tauber,
Here.
Commissioner Wagstaff,
Here.
Chair Kunstler,
Here.
and Jeffrey Swisher is absent.
Absent unless he comes in a little bit later. Okay, so at this point of the meeting, we invite anyone who would like to comment on matters which are specifically not on this evening's agenda to do so. So if there's anyone who would like to speak on such matters, if you could raise your hand, that would get our things moving. I am seeing none. So with that, we can move on to the planning director's report.
Only thing I have to report is that your decision for 39 Corte Toluca was appealed to the city council. And that is all I have to report tonight.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
So it has not been heard yet. It's just.
No, it hasn't been scheduled yet.
It actually has. It'll go,
Thanks, Kristen.
talking directly to me, it'll go May 18th. I think that's the date.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. So, Elise, that's it?
That's it.
Thank you very much. There is no consent calendar this evening, so with that, we can move on to our public hearing item. And if we could get the staff report, we'd be much obliged.
Thank you. I am taking over this application for our prior consultant, Lorraine Weiss, who will no longer be working with the city. Lorraine has taken on a full-time position with a consulting firm. I think she likes the idea of having regular benefits and hours. So she's decided to get out of the piecework trade.
Thank you. I'm going to interrupt just a second just to note that Commissioner Swisher has now joined us.
Yes, I'm here. Just literally ran in the door.
Good timing.
Yeah, excellent timing.
Okay.
I drove very fast.
We won't report you.
So I'm going to keep this brief since it was Lorraine's project and she is much more intimate with it than I was. This is a design review variance, an exception permit for 10 Magnolia Avenue. Magnolia Avenue is on the corner of Magnolia and Branch Street. It's a relatively modest sized parcel of about 6,900 square feet. It slopes downhill modestly with about a 9% slope from Magnolia to the back. The house is currently situated toward the back half of the lot. It's non-conforming to the north side property line, the rear setback, and I'm sorry, the north setback, the rear setback, and it has, I think, only 2 on-site parking spaces at this time. Applicants are proposing substantial remodeling with about 1,426 square foot of additions, including a partial basement level that would add an office, stairway, utility room, and laundry facilities to the house. The downstairs will be partially within the rear yard setback as the upstairs overlaps the ground. It's about a 6-foot clearance, I think, and they're filling in underneath. So there is a portion of the new addition that would also be within the 15-foot rear yard setback. The exception permit is because the home is being so substantially remodeled, it exceeds 60% of the current value. And they have to now asked for the exception permit to maintain the nonconformities to the side yard and rear yard setback. They also have a variance to parking because although they are bringing the parking spaces up to 3 now with a single car garage in the basement level, they will not meet the 4 on site required by our code. Generally, staff found the additions to be well placed and attractive. They don't appear to have any impact on the neighbors and surrounding property owners. The property is well situated that it only has one neighbor that it directly abuts. The other property to the north is the school, and they have not raised any concerns about single-story additions to this home. Neither have we heard from the neighbor on Branch Street that is downhill from this home. The additions are well blended into the design and character of the home. They mimic the current layout and just expand on it. And we have recommended approval, subject to all the findings and conditions of approval that we provided you in the staff report. If you have any questions specifically about any of the permits they're asking for, I'm happy to answer them.
Thank you very much. Do any of my fellow commissioners have any questions for Kristen? I'm seeing that I have just one quick one, Kristen. I don't know if you know the answer to this, but I know one of the conditions of the specific conditions of approval is to correct the grade in front of the garage so it slopes away from the house by 3%. That's correct.
Right, right.
Do you know anything about the feasibility of that?
Well, we can have the applicant speak to that. Public Works was fine with asking for a condition or making it a recommendation. We made it a condition because it seemed logical in particular to have the way the driveway turns down done a little differently so they can accommodate a broader range of cars. One of their concerns was the way that it curved and went down into the garage. It would, a typical SUV that we have today might strike the roof of the garage door. So they wanted that redone just a little as well. And so we made this a condition of approval because we certainly do want people to park in the garage and not out on the road if they can.
Okay. All right. So we'll bring that up with the applicant. Again, any of my fellow commissioners have anything they wish to ask? Okay. We could move on then to the applicant. If the applicant or the applicant's representative wishes to present, now would be a good time.
Mr. Hubble, I was trying to ask. There we go. We need to ask you to unmute.
There we go.
Yes, good evening. How are you? Thank you for having us here tonight. This is Brad Hubble of Hubble Daily Architecture and Design, and we are the architects representing Peter and Kelly, who own the home at 10 Magnolia Avenue and Branch Streets. That's Peter and Kelly Leckwick.
Can I ask you to speak a little bit closer to your mic?
Oh, sure. Let me just see if I turned up my mic. Is that better?
It's a little bit better.
A little bit better? Okay.
Yeah.
Hopefully that will work, maybe?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll just max it out. Maybe that'll be better. So we started this project to help Kelly and Peter add functionality for their growing family. It's a single level home, which has compromised spaces on the main level. The idea was to allow some flexibility for not only the growing family, but also some entertaining. That's actually a great spot. If you could stop there, please, Kristen.
Sure.
The upper left view is an aerial view. Magnolia Avenue runs left to right along the fence line. Main stairs go down to the main entry, which we've preserved at the crook of the L of the house. To the left and straight ahead of the entry, we have a kitchen, sort of working right to left. We have kitchen, dining, living, and then a new AV room, which also works as a sort of a guest room. Going the other direction from the entry toward the right or to the south on that right-hand wing, we have bedrooms, basically just a private, more family area, stairs that go down, and then in the right-hand corner of this image, upper right corner, you see the lower level. So the stairs go down to a garage and an office with a laundry room / mudroom behind the office. The whole idea was to add some flexibility for getting more cars off the street, as well as being able to allow for some storage of a growing family's needs like bikes, etc., off street and in the shelter of the garage. The additions are designed such that they not only blend with the house's original form, but they step back out of the setbacks. A good portion of the existing house, as was previously noted, is in the northern setback where you see that chimney in the upper left image, and a good portion of the rear of this property is in the rear setback, which we wish to preserve in order to maintain existing, the pretty much only existing flat area in the front of the house towards Magnolia.
Oops. Looks like the layers are still turned on, sorry.
That's okay. That is the lower level, showing the stairs as we work down the stairs in the right corner of the fill there, the lighter fill, laundry and mudroom to the left of that, and then below that towards the garage is the office. So there's a private, as is most important these days, a private in-home office space. And then the next page down, A2.2, shows the main level layout where you have the family wing facing toward the south or south of the kitchen, and then the active, more entertaining public areas along the northern bar. And there you can also see the step back at the upper left corner where the guest bath and AV room step back to be outside of the side yard. We are basically staying within the confines of the existing building height, the building envelope. We did bring out that lower level to meet the non-conforming rear wall for two reasons. One, for structural support of that non-conforming wall, and two, to be able to, well, really, that was the main reason, is to be able to support the existing overhang of that lower wall. We're maintaining existing footings and supports for the kitchen area. You can see that area in the lower image where you see those what look like stilts. But that's basically the yeah, thank you. That's basically the existing structure that we're maintaining and preserving. At this point, welcome any questions.
Okay, are there any questions for the applicant? I see Laura's hand is raised.
I just have one kind of simple question, and that is, I think I read in the write-up that you're intending to keep the bushes that are on the other side of the fence along Magnolia. It doesn't show up in the drawings, and I know you're trying to be able to do it so you can see the house, but I just wanted to verify that that was the case.
Yeah, we were going to maintain the vegetation along the street. Is that what you mean?
Yeah,
Yes.
because basically from the street, you can't really see the house very well.
No, we're trying to preserve the screening in that manner.
That's what I figured. So, but as I said, from the drawings, that makes it look like you can see right in a relatively low fence.
Right. No, the intent is to preserve the screen. We're definitely going to clean it up a bit, but we're going to preserve the vegetation.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
Any other questions from my fellow commissioners? Okay, I'll ask the one that I just asked of Kristen, Mr. Hubble. So there was that concern about the configuration of the entrance to the garage. And I was wondering if that is something that you can or plan to address.
Thank you for raising that. I had mentioned to touch on that, and I got a little distracted in my description. But yes, we actually have updated that since the final submittal, because that was something that we had talked about with Kristen and with Lorraine about having submitted, and it was decided that we would make it part of a condition of approval. We have already addressed those concerns, so they will be part of our building permit set.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay, this is a public meeting, so if there is anyone in attendance who wishes to offer any comments on this application, now would be a good time to do so. And if you wish to do so, please raise your hand. So I see no hands raised. So with that, I'm going to close the public hearing and bring it back to the commission for a deliberation. And I'll start with Jeff.
So I think this is a really creative solution to an unusual lot. And I mean, I think these are absolutely beautiful plans. If I were remodeling something, I think I would be calling you to hire you. I think you've done a great job with it. I like how the garage is tucked in. I suspect the drainage issues are because that's the one thing I could see, that there could be some issues there, but I'm sure you figured all that out with drains, et cetera. But I think it's a really elegant design, and I'm in favor of it.
Thank you. Laura.
I feel quite similarly, actually. I think it's a really nice solution that's has minimal effect on the surrounding. It's not something you really can see, as I said, from the street. The way that you tuck the garage in the back makes sense to me, and it definitely looks like it's a much better layout up above on the ground floor. So I think it's a good project, and I'm in favor too.
Thank you. Natasha.
Sorry, I was on mute. So yeah, I tend to actually agree with my colleagues here. I think this design and these additions make a lot of sense for this particular space, and they have minimal impact on the surrounding neighbors. I don't think there's any special grant of special privilege, so I can make all the findings for the design review, the 2 variances, and the exception permit. The only thing I would add is, it would need to be subject to the driveway grade and design modifications that were mentioned in the staff report.
Okay, thank you very much. And Brock.
I think they've done an incredible job of modernizing this house and making a floor plan that really works. I'd be totally in support of it, and I think they've got the garage thing worked out, so I'm with everybody else.
Thank you very much, and as am I. Yeah, I think that this is this comports perfectly with the intent of our city ordinance with regard to making these kinds of findings. So I also support the project. I'm on a personal level, I'm very impressed by the way the house is laid out with those 2 wings, and the use of the space and the non-obtrusiveness of the design. So I also can make all the findings, including the grading. So with that, I think we can proceed to a motion. Do I have a volunteer to craft a motion for us?
I can move to approve design review variance exception permit 2202 for 10 Magnolia Avenue as laid out by staff, including the conditions for approval on the driveway and garage.
Thank you. Would someone care to second that?
I'll second it.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Do we need a roll call? Or
Yeah,
we good?
let's do a roll call.
Yeah. Commissioner Chalmers,
Yes.
Commissioner Swisher,
Yes.
Chair Kunzler,
Yes.
Commissioner Tauber,
Yes.
Commissioner Wagstaff.
Yes.
Okay, so unanimously, the findings are made. So thank you very much for the applicant for your presentation, and thanks to staff as well for an excellent report.
Thank you.
Okay, with that, we can move on to the approval of to our business items, approval of our minutes from April 12th, 2022. Not terribly lengthy. Could I get a motion to approve the minutes? And we might have a couple of tensions.
I'll move to approve the minutes of
And I
April 12th.
can second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. We could probably dispense with a roll call on this one. Do we have any planning commission reports this evening? Don't all talk at once. So I guess not. So we can move on to the final contentious item on our agenda, which would be adjournment.
Before we adjourn,
So we do it, yeah.
I don't know that I've met Elise. Have I met you before?
I maybe you were absent because you went on your trip.
I think so.
Possible, right. I feel like I've seen you before, but that's because I've watched a couple videos before I started.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway, I just wanted to say welcome.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So again, for our last item of contention, would anyone care to propose a motion to adjourn?
Proposed motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Second.
Hey, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. And there are none opposed. So thank you very much, everybody. And we are adjourned for this evening.
Wow.
That was sweet. All right. Well, take care, everybody.